Okay, so today I want to do kind of a potato update in a way. I dug the potatoes out of my garden that I had planted just today now, and I got about half of a 5-gallon pail. And you think, well, that's not very much, and you're right. But that came out of this little space in my garden, and it's only 8 foot by 3 foot, and I had 3 short little rows in there. And you'd still say, well, hey, that's still not a very good return. And I would normally say, yeah, it should be better. But what I planted was part of an experiment, in a sense. And I'm going to show you. The potatoes that I planted seed potatoes, and they were all only about this size. Okay? So, considering how small they were planting, and that they were actually very old as well, this is not bad. But the experiment part of this goes back to last year. So the seed potatoes that I used this year were those tiny little ones, and they were grown from seeds, not from seed potato, but from actual tiny little seeds last year. And so I saved some of those and planted them this year, and this is what I got. So it's not too bad, and I'm going to show you now what those seeds look like. Okay, you see these little tiny specks? Those little specks. There's 6 of them there. Those are potato seeds, and I put a dime beside just for comparison. You can see just how small they are. And so, like I said, that's what I planted last year, were these little seeds, and I got a harvest of mostly small little potatoes out of that. And I saved some of those small little potatoes to plant this year, and I got a half of a 5-gallon pail worth out of that. And because they're so small, saving them from last year to this year, they were mostly shriveled up already when I planted them. So this was a pretty interesting experiment, and I'm going to leave a link below. You can check out my original video on this whole idea of planting these little tiny seeds, and I'd encourage you to go and watch that. Check it out. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, for now, thanks for watching, and see you again next time. You know, liking and subscribing really helps a small channel, so thank you so much.